Hello and welcome to another episode of BM by BM. I am Melinda Bailey.
I'm Andrew Maxim.
Yes.
Welcome to Books and Movies by
Welcome.
Bailey and Maxim. This evening we are discussing the
Space Trilogy.
Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. That's a big old book, folks. So, all right, give us the rundown here, Mrs. Bailey.
So, a very, very brief synopsis and summary. The first book is about not time travel, excuse me. The first book is about space travel.
No.
The second book is more in depth about travel to the planet Venus, I believe.
Venus is correct.
And then the third book, That Hideous Strength, is a kind of way to not necessarily tie it all together, but it's a way. There are bad guys here on Earth that are trying to do things, and of course, it's a C.S. Lewis book. Good must triumph over evil, but there is a struggle. So,
Yes.
There we are.
Very much so. So, in terms of more information about the plot,
Yes, please.
Main character of this series is Elwyn Ransom. Interestingly, dear listener, if you have read the Lewis trilogy, you may have noticed this character bears a number of similarities to Lewis himself. University professor, expert in languages, medieval literature, but there's some speculation that perhaps Lewis did not model this character after himself, but actually after his mentor, who was, of course,
J.R.R. Tolkien.
That's the one. So anyway, this character, again, was the one who voyages to Mars, and then the second one is set on Venus, and then third one, so this is humans who are trying to get a hold of supernatural beings, the bad guys, right?
Yes.
So anyway, so this character runs through, and as we've mentioned in our teasers the last couple of times, if you're looking for the child-friendly, if you're looking for the child-friendly story that you came to know and love from Narnia, the Narnia series, this is not it.
This is not it.
There is a quite a bit of let's say frolicking that go on in these movies or movie books.
Yes.
There's a bit of wanton destruction, shall we say, that goes on, and again, so there's this. What you will get from these books is kind of what you do expect from Lewis, where there's absolutely a depth to the storytelling, so that it's certainly more than a story, more than just the plot of the story. So we've beaten around the bush quite enough here. Give us some hot takes on this series.
So my favorite of the three is definitely, and I think I mentioned this previously, I really like Paralandra, the second book.
Yes.
When I first read, I believe it's The Magician's Nephew, there is a brief description of Aslan creating Narnia, and he's like making these sounds and grunts and like different things come into being. But for me, Paralandra is that like to the extreme. I think Lewis gets to go into not only the creation story, but also Genesis 3, where a woman is tricked. One of the things that stuck out to me, she creates clothing, but in the Bible, they just talk about how they like clothe themselves.
Why?
And in the book, in Paralandra, it goes into detail about how she hurt animals to create this clothing and like plucked feathers and went all out. And she thought she looked amazing, but it was a bit much. And
literally a hot mess.
It was just really
Think about it, viewers. A hot mess.
A hot mess. So for me, that's one of the things that I liked the most in Paralandra. In the third book of Hideous Strength, there is a couple that is discussed that are the main characters, I mean, in the book. And their marriage is kind of just meh. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting for me to read Lewis's writings about this couple who kind of wonder if their marriage is worth it. Like, are they really going to stay together? Are they going to drift apart? They've already drifted apart, but are they going to stay married? So that's always a will they, won't they in the third book. And of course, you get the extra surprise of, oh, look, it's Merlin in the third book. So that's fun.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think we need to address a question here. We are discussing perhaps a too covering description of all the books, a too broad a term.
True.
We've been discussing dystopian books, right? Mm-hmm. And similar. I've said this issue is interesting. How did this land on our list then? This doesn't read like most of the other things that we've featured so far. So how is this here? How is this on our list?
I believe it's on our list. I think, well, of course, time. I keep saying time travel, and I really mean space travel. I'm so sorry, audience.
Well, I mean, if there's a person, again, it's not heavy on the technology, right? There's no like big
the third book,
right? There's no big fanfare about the how you travel rapidly through space. So
True.
It's fine. Go ahead.
So the third book really focuses more on destruction of green space, the increase of technology in society, and then an evil, dastardly plan that is underlying all of that. So I would think that the dystopian society doesn't really come into full understanding until the third book.
Good. So if we take this as our book, perhaps this qualifies, as the prequels, and then the discussion. Is that the case we're trying to make here?
And I would also say we have discussed how it's not just it's not necessarily only dystopian societies, but other societies and how they build themselves. And in the first book, where he does go to Mars, he meets another civilization and figures out how they do things. And it's quite different for him, of course, because he's an Earthling.
Right.
And I think they're kind of like Wookiee-esque characters. But he learns a different way of life from these people. Or not, they're not people, I'm sorry, from the aliens. And he takes his life experience on Mars back with him when he returns to his home. So I think that's another reason why we've added it to our list.
Excellent. So perhaps it would be more fair to say that what we're attempting here is a discussion or a study of societies. That
Yes.
We're talking about hypothetical collapse of societies or troubled societies, and so from that point of view, this one fits well with that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the Eldila for us. Do you recall these folks? These are the superhuman extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm. In book one.
Yeah. Tell us about these.
I just remember they're quite large and hairy, kind of like Wookiees.
Sorry, these are the the extraterrestrials. These are the superhuman that manifests as like the pillars of lights or the.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah, talk about those folks for a little bit. What do you got on them?
I don't have a lot on them.
Oh, okay. So
they are what they are.
Well, and I don't want to reach too far here, but I'm wondering here. So they control nature. They go ahead.
Mind control? Are they? Because like there are two species, right? And one of them is kind of above the other. No. Yes.
Maybe. Yeah. So my take here is that I think these creatures are essentially his fictionalization or his representation of angels.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That they have some control over, I would say, nature. So things that happen on these planets, like phenomenon that happen on the planet, each of the planets, right? And they can show themselves in physical form.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's interesting that he kind of treats this issue of, and this is in a way kind of there's this thread throughout. So to say, if there was, so again, we talk about extraterrestrial life and intelligent life, right? Mm-hmm. And here's a question that has come up before, like, folks, I think that you can have this discussion about if there's extraterrestrial life, then that disproves the Bible, right? And for me, so one of the discussion I've heard is like, no, in no way does it do that. Mm-hmm. The creator of the universe manifests himself to humans as a human. Why would he manifest himself or itself or herself as a human to sentient beings that are nothing like humans? So if there was a planet full of sentient sheep, and they had, how do sheep? What's the ultimate sacrifice and redemption that a sheep could? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, this is not. I don't think this is quite that. Right. But this whole treatment of how would angels interact with a society that is wholly different from ours, but is capable of rational thought, I guess. Mm-hmm. Is that a reach? I don't know.
I don't think so. Yes, I see what you're saying.
Your turn.
But
so that was counterpoint. Go for it.
Yes. I also think, I don't think God is like Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and visiting all of these planets and trying to create his own godlike population.
No.
In the same sense that he did in that timeline of the comic and plot of the film.
No. However, let's stick with this for a moment, if I may. So let's assume, and okay, another argument. Just since these are the planet series, let's go with this for a minute, and let's have a semi-theological show. Because how can you not if we're talking C.S. Lewis? Okay, so let's just think about this. How utterly arrogant is it for us to think that the creator of the universe created an entire universe that has, I don't care which theological tradition you're in, you accept that there are multiplied millions of stars and planets in this universe, right?
True.
That's not a problem, even though some of my friends and relatives still like to mess around with the idea of young Earth and things like that. I will leave that alone today. But let's talk about the magnitude of space. Who are we to demand that logically that our creator created hundreds of thousands, millions of stars and planets and only chose to create life on a single one of those planets? Like, who are we to claim exclusivity to life and particularly to sentience, right? So
yes,
is redemption ours only as well? So were we the only sentient beings made in the image of God? And if not, who are we to claim that he hasn't already done or is currently doing, as we understand time to exist, his work of redemption somewhere else in a way completely unlike how it happened here, because God is infinite and perhaps his redemption on another planet on the other side of the galaxy looks completely different. And how would we know what that should look like? That's what I got.
In the words of Hal, I don't know, Dave.
All right, then. I think this has been a good discussion.
I mean, I haven't really processed life on other planets. It can be considered self-centered to think that we're it. But I don't know. The Bible doesn't necessarily talk about other planets.
Well, not again, but in the same vein.
It was written by...
Oh, no, it was...
that may not have...
We say that the Bible is the revealed word of God, the word to us. This isn't the Bible of the aliens. They have their own revelation, whatever it is.
Side note, Twilight Zone episode.
Okay. So why would God say, and oh, by the way, you puny little meatbags, there are gas giants on a planet 5 quintillion light years from here, and my plan for them is fill in the blank. No. Why would he mention them to us? We're never going to meet them. So what business is it of ours what he is doing with them? Whoever, the formless eternal one.
Well,
not formless. I don't know why I said that.
I didn't realize there were 5 cotillions that they had to get through in order to...
Aren't those like parties? A cotillion? Or is
debutante balls.
Yeah, that's I'm figuring that to last a long time.
That's what you said, right? 5 cotillions?
I think I will roll the tape later, but I was just trying to think of a long unit of time and space, and I've never been to one, but I understand they feel like surely that's a long unit of time.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
All right. Dear C.S. Lewis, he would be disappointed that we, maybe in fact, my understanding of, and I can't say who besides the two of them were in the Inklings, but their club was about sitting and talking about things. So in fact, perhaps he would be pleased to think that He merely provided the rabbit hole that we fell down and strayed away from his original text.
And I apologize for not really having a, not point of view, but just I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. It's like, yeah, sure, it could happen. I don't know. Another aside, so I do think one time I had a friend tell me that and also she's a nurse, so I trust her medical expertise, but she said that she didn't believe that zombies would ever be real because she didn't think that God would do that to his creation.
Okay.
And I always find that interesting, especially when I'm, for some reason, looking up the plot line and clips from 28 Days Later last night and start freaking myself out. It's like, wait, Emily said that this won't happen, so don't be scared.
Yeah, well, as someone who believes in the Bible, the only catastrophe that I know for sure will not happen based on the Bible is a worldwide flood.
True.
Localized floods are allowed, and obviously giant lizards. Well, 4 feet long is not that giant, but still quite large. Let's tell the people what they can look forward to on Tuesday of next week, which is May 19th. Do you remember?
No.
I'm looking at it right now, which is sort of like cheating.
Yes.
So we will be discussing the book The Naked Sun by Isaac Asimov. Is this the first time we've had an Asimov?
Yes.
Okay, so Isaac Asimov, widely considered the father of science fiction, prolific writer of over 100 books. And I do have to crack on another prolific writer. Unlike his counterpart who wrote mostly Westerns, if you've read 5 of that man's Western novels, you can just stop because all the rest of them have the same plot pieces remixed.
Are you shading Louis L'Amour?
I did not say that name. But what I'm trying to say is, as Isaac Asimov tends to produce very original thinking and plot lines in all of, I have only read about maybe 15 or 20 of his books, certainly not all 100. So far,
the night is young.
You're right. But anyway, The Naked Sun, I believe that it will be a good, relevant read. It's a book only. I'm not aware of any reproduction via moving picture. So just the book. And then next Friday, one that you have very likely all heard of because it was recently made into a movie, Ender's Game. So next week, we've got the whole ye old set in space. Well, we're going to be on a little streak here. Oh, and I noticed that the week after next, we have one that is very much set in space as well. I won't give that one away. You're going to have to tune in next Friday to find out what that title is. Next Tuesday, The Naked Sun. Next Friday, Ender's Game. We hope you'll join us then as we return as
Bailey and
Maxie. Y'all be good. Stay safe. Wash your hands. See you next week.
Farewell.